Welcome back everyone, and if you're new to the channel or Star Citizen, welcome. I'm DarkHour717. Today we're going to be taking a look at mining in the Prospector and the changes that come in with the addition of the mining gadgets. But before we get started, if you like these tutorials, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Just a note as we get started, the information in this video will be for use if you have a Prospector that you've pledged or purchased in game. This is due to if you rent the Prospector, you'll not be able to upgrade any of the components on it. Though the information on the mining gadgets will be able to be applied if you are using a rental, and chapters are set up to easily jump right to that section. I'll also put a link just above for a video specific to using the Prospector with just the stock component. The MISC Prospector is an excellent tool to make a generous amount of AUEC in game, by utilizing the refineries located at all the stations that are out in the verse. The ship itself can be pledged for $155 US or be purchased in game at New Deal in Lorville down on Hurston for 2,061,000 AUEC, and is more than well worth the cost in game. Today we will be going over the use of the Prospector as well as loadout, components, modules, consumables, and gadgets to maximize your earning potential with this amazing solo mining vessel. A link will be in the description for the Auec site, which is used for customizing your ships and also lists all in-game purchase prices and locations to obtain the components. I'll also include a link in the description for Cornerstone, which is an amazing item finder for Star Citizen that you can find everything from a bottle of water all the way up to where you can buy any ship in the verse that's available. Once you have your Prospector, there are a lot of different ways to load it out. Not everything needs to be swapped, and it can run very adequately stock. In its stock configuration, you'll be able to mine most items, though Quantanium will be the most difficult, and it's best to use upgraded components to be able to collect this most valuable commodity. As for the stock systems on board, I only recommend really replacing the quantum drive to ensure that you have an efficient and slightly faster drive installed to maximize your time on site for collecting, as once you start mining Quantanium, time is of the essence. And if it runs out before storing your ship at the refinery, you can watch all your hard work go up in a blaze of glory. So to help with this, I recommend placing an Atlas quantum drive on the ship. If you do keep the Goliath drive, just know you will need to give yourself more time to return to the refinery, as it's 40% slower than the Atlas drive. The Atlas is obtainable for 17,900 AUEC in game, and it's available on HER-L5. Once on location in your desired mining area, which mine is Illyria due to the more than adequate availability of Quantanium, scanning is going to be necessary to find the ore that you're looking for. My preferred method for doing this is to actually set the limiter at full, do an initial 360-degree scan using the ping function to get an idea of what's around you. Then tune the angle of the ping to 90 degrees. You can do this by pressing the period key on your keyboard, and to increase the angle back to a larger angle, you just want to hit the comma key and activate mining mode. I typically fly around at 90 degrees though and work my way back and forth through the area that I'm searching, and I use the ping to find deposits. Now, not all rocks will be indicated by boxes. Make sure to keep an eye out for the small diamond indicators that pop up as you're going to indicate additional deposits. I do find on the darker side of Lyria it is easier for me to see the small diamond indicators when they pop up than it is on the day side of the planet. Typically, while doing this, I can tell the type of deposit within 2,000 meters. If it is not Quantanium, there's no need to approach it for a more detailed breakdown. The other thing to look for is any indicators showing 2 rocks or more within close proximity. These will be Quantanium deposits the majority of the time. When found, verify it is Quantanium, then proceed down for a detailed makeup of the deposit. You will need to get probably within a couple of 100 meters to be able to see the breakdown of the individual components within the rock. Once you find a worthy rock though, you are ready to mine. Now, as far as the mining head and other modules, the stock components can get you started but are very limited in their capability. There are many options to go with, but my preferred setup works very well and allows for breaking of most rocks that I do come across, including up to larger than 6,000 mass Quantanium rocks before having to resort to using the new mining gadgets. The loadout I use is the Lancet MH1 mining head, and the Torrent 3 persistent module, the Focus 3 persistent module, and the Surge consumable. Be aware with the new refinery stations in 317.2, In PTU, we're finding that no mining components are in the refinery shops yet, and once they are actually in there and hopefully on live, they're only going to add more available locations to get them. With the combination of these modules and consumable, I find that breaking the larger and more dense Quantanium rocks easier, and it actually has much tighter control when it comes to the secondary breaks over the Helix. The persistent modules are constantly active and do not require replacement unless you destroy or claim the ship. The Surge does have a limited number of uses, as noted, before you have to install another, and that's going to be a total of 5. So you'll actually fly up to the rock with the optimal distance indicated on the mining HUD in the top left. You're going to fire your mining laser and let it start to work on the rock at full strength. Slightly move around where you're aiming to find the most reactive spot and concentrate there. Once it starts building up and gets approximately 20 to 30% of the way to the green, fire the Surge module and you'll see it instantly shoot up, usually into the green. Keep in mind that smaller rocks at 4,000 mass or less, with a little bit of patience, you'll not need a Surge and could save it for a bigger rock later, allowing the full strength of the laser to do all the work for you. Once in the green, adjust the laser as needed to keep it there until the charge area fills and the rock breaks. Once the first break is done, even on the largest rocks, the secondary break will not require the Surge, and all further breaks should be done with just the laser itself. For really difficult rocks in the 6,000 mass range, a double shot of Surge may be needed for that first break. To accomplish this, hit it with the first shot and either wait until it drops or lower the laser power slightly to allow the gauge to drop back down to about 20% from the bottom. And then hit it with a second shot of Surge. This will then push the gauge into the upper portion of the charge window and should fall at a slow enough rate to complete the first break. Be aware this takes a little bit of learning when to hit the second shot, but with a little practice, it will become second nature. You want to err on the side of caution with this one though, when you're first doing it, as if it's done too soon, it will shoot into the overcharge range and possibly destroy the deposit and your ship. But if the second Surge is implemented too late, worst case scenario is you adjust and try again without losing your ship. After the initial break, you can make all your secondary breaks on the pieces that have ore that you're searching for. Best practice here is to break everything down before you collect, especially with Quantanium, due to once it's on board, your timer is started for about 15 minutes before it becomes volatile and explodes in your ship. The secondary break though is far more easier and will just use the laser on its own. Be cautious, as full power is absolutely not needed to complete this, and usually laser strength at 15% or below is all it takes depending on the size. The process is the same though. Reach the charge area with the gauge and adjust as needed to keep it in the green until it is full, then it will be complete and be collectible. Some rocks may split direct to collectible from the first break, though this is more rare, but it can happen. So if it's highlighted purple, that means you're already ready to collect. Highlighted yellow when you hover over it and it requires an additional break. No rock requires more than 2 breaks though. Once all the breaking is complete, switch your mining laser mode to extraction and begin collecting your ore. Again, keep in mind, as soon as Quantanium is collected, the timer is started and you'll have about 15 minutes to complete and reach the refinery. The clock will stop once the ship is stored or impounded at the refinery. On occasion, you may come across rocks that exceed the capability of the laser and modules that you have loaded out. This is where the new mining gadgets come into play, and introduced in patch 3.17, these allow for additional effects to be placed on a rock to assist in breaking it. Designed to be reusable as well as stackable, you can place any combination and number of these on any rock. Available in 6 versions, all have different benefits that you'll need to properly match with the effects of your other modules to ensure you're not negating any of the other modules or consumables that you have. The gadgets are as follows: the Bormax, the Acunis, the Optimax, the Saber, the Stalwart, and the Wave Shift. In order to use these, you can equip one at the base of a backpack and place additional ones in the backpack or on your Prospector. When you find a rock, take the gadget of choice and equip it in your hand by pressing 4. And you may need to hit it more than once to cycle to the gadget, or go into the inventory and drag it directly to your hand. Now, placing these will require departing the ship to the surface or EVA if you're in the halo or an asteroid cluster. Go up to the rock, and when you're over an area that can be placed, it'll indicate with a shadow of the gadget on the rock. Left click to place it, and once on the rock, zoom in and use your mouse to adjust the 3 sliders in the middle to match the waveform indicated on the screen above. Using the percent gauge on the right, your goal is to be at 90% or higher. Once it's above the 90%, click activate. That is it, the device is now functional. Repeat for however many more that you want to place on the rock, as again they are stackable and you can add additional ones of the same model or different models. Then climb back into your prospector and mine the rock as discussed above. When you're past the first break, I recommend exiting and retrieving the gadgets, as they are reusable unless you overcharge the rock and destroy it. But be aware, at times I do also find that one is occasionally lost even if you don't overcharge the rock. You want to make sure though to recover the gadgets before extracting, especially with the Quantanium, as it's limited time. After recovering your gadgets, finish off with breaking and collecting all your ore and depart for the refinery. I personally do like using the wave shift with the Optimax, as this seems to work well with my loadout and can get me rocks up to 8,000 mass, though rocks that big may still require the double surge technique for the initial break. As a side note, after the initial break, the effects of the gadgets do not carry over to the secondary break, and really it is not needed even on the large rocks. Finally, we get to the refinery, and this is where you're going to turn your ore in for either immediate profit or you can refine it for increased profit, and potentially near doubling its value. If you're mining Quantanium, you're going to have a volatility indicator in the top right of your HUD as you're flying in. This stays off until you're down to about the 8-minute mark before your cargo goes critical and an explosion. This will go red at about the 2-minute mark. When you return to the refinery station, you're going to want to land, and if you have Quantanium, immediately get the ship impounded if the timer is in the red, or land and immediately store the ship at the ASOP. This will stop the clock and the potential for catastrophic loss. You do have an option to set a keybind to jettison the cargo and get rid of the Quantanium before it explodes so that your ship doesn't get destroyed. Once in the station, head to the refinery where you'll go to the upper area above the shop. On the left is a kiosk in which you may sell the unrefined raw ore. Just interact here and select the prospector and immediately get paid the amount shown. If you want to maximize your earnings though and have a little patience, then proceed to the refinery terminal on the adjacent wall. Here you'll be able to select your ship, select the refinement method. Dinic solvenation always provides the highest profits, though it does take the longest amount of time. As a shorter secondary option, you can select the electrostarolysis method, which does provide a very small amount less in profit, but does drastically reduce the time. These are probably the top 2 recommended methods. After that, you will select the ore that you want to refine. I recommend just select everything because it's all going to be turned into AUEC. Select the quote, and this will give you the cost and the time requirement for the job. Then click confirm to begin the processing. And that's it. Some other useful info here is the top left corner does tell you any buffs or reduction in pricing for the ores, as some stations like CRUL1 specialize in Quantanium and pays an extra percentage for it. Here on Arc L1 there are no buffs or reductions, so it is a good place to refine with its proximity to where I mine on Lyria. I recommend that you familiarize yourself with the nearest refinery to your mining location to expedite the return trip to the refinery as well. This brings us to what to do once the refining is complete. You can enter the refining terminal and you will see your completed jobs on the screen. You can click collect and a list of ships that you have at the station will appear. Select whichever ship you want to load the completed job onto, and if the ship you are selecting does not have enough SCU capacity for the completed job, it will not load into it. If you don't have a cargo ship there, you can actually claim one at the ASOP from your list, or rent a Cutlass Black right in the refinery. Once the ship is selected, click collect again and it will be loaded onto that ship. At this point, you will want to fly to the closest TDD or major city and sell the commodities from your ship and collect your money. And that is it. You're now richer. Congratulations. I really hope that this has helped many in the search for AUEC, and those that have an interest in mining get on their feet and get started earning. With the wipe that's coming in 3.17.2, this is definitely going to be one key way to really earn back a lot of that AUEC. One other quick tip that I can give to really help in making this profitable is work in teams. Through the use of spotters, finding and mining a rock is much faster, and utilizing spotters tends to find rocks faster than you can mine them. Much of this information can also be applied to the mole as well. But hit me up in the comments and let me know what loadouts you like on your ship, and also let me know where you like mining. Me personally, I prefer Illyria, and it's been that way for several patches. But don't forget to get your entries in for this month's giveaway, the Origin 325A. Just subscribe and comment on any video here, and you'll automatically be entered. You can definitely get a second entry by heading over to Twitch and following over there. Winner will be drawn on August 1st. You can also catch the stream every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time over on Twitch. And if you'd like to help support the channel, check out the merch store, Patreon, or even hit that join button above and become a member for as little as 99 cents per month. I want to thank everyone for checking the video out. Please be safe out there, and we will catch you next time.